Beneath the sands of Egypt lies a tomb that killed 9 men, and a boy king whose death remains unsolved after 3,300 years. This is the story of Tutankhamun, the pharaoh who died at 18, carrying secrets that would haunt everyone who disturbed his rest. Our story begins in 1341 BCE, in a kingdom torn apart by religious revolution. Born as Tutankhamun, son of the heretic king Akhenaten, the boy inherited a poisoned throne at the age of 4. His father had committed the ultimate blasphemy, abandoning Egypt's 1,000-year-old gods for a single deity, the sun disk, Aten. Akhenaten's religious reforms had plunged Egypt into chaos. Temples closed, priests starved, the people revolted. When Akhenaten died mysteriously in 1332 BCE, his 8-year-old son became a puppet king, controlled by powerful priests and generals. The child was too young to rule, too weak to resist, but someone had plans for him. Chief among them was I, the boy's great-uncle, a cunning politician who had served 3 pharaohs and would stop at nothing to preserve his power. And General Horemheb, Egypt's greatest warrior, a man born common but hungry for the throne itself. Between these titans, the boy pharaoh was renamed Tutankhamun, living image of Amun, the very god his father had tried to destroy. But fate had cursed the boy king. Born from incest, his parents were brother and sister. Tutankhamun suffered from severe deformities. Modern scans reveal a clubbed left foot, curvature of the spine, and a bone disease that made every step agony. His tomb would later reveal over 130 walking sticks, not symbols of power, but desperate tools for a crippled king. Unable to walk without pain, unable to father healthy children, the teenage pharaoh became a prisoner in his own palace. His only companion was Ankhesenamun, his half-sister and child bride, herself a pawn in the deadly game of royal succession. She would bear him 2 daughters, both stillborn, both buried with him, the last of Akhenaten's cursed bloodline. The weight of Egypt rested on shoulders too young, too frail, but greater forces were already deciding his fate. In the shadows, priests and generals whispered. How long would the crippled boy last, and who would claim the throne when he fell? But first, the boy king would have one chance to save his soul and restore Egypt's shattered faith. Egypt was dying. Akhenaten's revolution had left the great temples abandoned, the priests powerless, and the gods silent. In year 3 of his reign, Tutankhamun issued the Restoration Stela, a decree that would save Egypt's soul. Quote, "The temples have fallen into ruin, their shrines have become desolate. The gods have turned their backs on this land." Tutankhamun commanded the restoration of all temples, the recreation of destroyed god statues, and the return of Egypt's ancient rituals. The people celebrated. After years of chaos, the old gods had returned. Egypt was Egypt again. But was this truly Tutankhamun's decision? Or was I using the boy to consolidate his own power with the priesthood? The restoration made I indispensable. The priests needed him, the people loved him, and the boy king was becoming expendable. Yet Tutankhamun's reign saw unprecedented wealth. Gold flowed from Nubia, trade routes reopened, Egypt's coffers filled. Horemheb led military campaigns to secure Egypt's borders, crushing rebellions in Nubia and Syria, winning glory in the boy king's name. But every victory made Horemheb more popular, more powerful, more dangerous to a king who could not fight his own battles. Tutankhamun tried to be strong, tried to be the warrior king Egypt demanded,
but his body betrayed him at every turn. Modern DNA analysis reveals he suffered from multiple bouts of malaria, a disease that would have left him feverish, weak, and vulnerable. Each illness brought him closer to death, each recovery weaker than before. The throne was slipping away. In the court, tensions escalated. Ai and Horemheb circled like vultures, each positioning for the inevitable succession. By his 18th year, Tutankhamun had restored Egypt's glory, but he would never see his 19th birthday. The exact circumstances of Tutankhamun's death remain one of history's greatest mysteries. 3 theories dominate: accident, disease, or murder. Theory 1, the accident. Some believe the crippled king fell from his chariot during a hunting expedition. His clubbed foot made balance impossible. One wrong move and the pharaoh would have been crushed beneath horses and wood. CT scans reveal a horrific break in his left leg, shattered just before death. The infection that followed would have been excruciating and fatal. Without modern antibiotics, the young king would have died slowly, fever burning through his weakened body. But Theory 2 suggests disease. Malaria coursed through his veins. His immune system, weakened by inbreeding, couldn't fight. Perhaps the leg break was coincidental. Perhaps malaria finally claimed him, as it had claimed thousands before. But Theory 3 is the darkest. Murder. The broken leg could have been inflicted deliberately, the infection ensured. Early X-rays showed a mysterious fragment in his skull. Was it the killing blow or post-mortem damage from rough mummification? Who benefited? Ai became pharaoh within weeks. Horemheb seized the throne 4 years later, erasing Tutankhamun's name from history. Whatever the cause, in 1323 BCE, the boy king took his final breath. He was 18 years old. He had ruled for 9 years. Egypt wept, not for the king they knew, but for the dynasty that died with him. By law, the pharaoh's body must be mummified within 70 days, but something went terribly wrong. His mummification was rushed, careless. The oils caught fire, charring his flesh. For a pharaoh, this was unthinkable, unless someone wanted him buried quickly. And his tomb? Not a grand pyramid, but a tiny forgotten hole in the Valley of Kings. Whoever buried him wanted him hidden and forgotten. For 3,200 years, Tutankhamun lay forgotten beneath the sand. His tomb robbed twice in antiquity, then sealed and lost to time. Until November 1922, when British archaeologist Howard Carter, funded by Lord Carnarvon, made one final desperate search. Carter had searched for 6 years, found nothing. Carnarvon's patience and money were running out. This would be the last season. On November 4th, a water boy's foot struck stone. 12 steps emerged, then a sealed doorway bearing the royal seal. Carter's hands shook as he read the name, Tutankhamun, a pharaoh so minor historians had barely recorded him, but the seal was intact. Carter sent a telegram, "At last have made wonderful discovery in valley, awaits your arrival." Carnarvon raced from England. November 26th, with trembling hands, Carter made a tiny hole. He lifted a candle. Carnarvon asked, "Can you see anything?" Carter's reply would become legend. Yes, wonderful things. Before them lay treasures beyond imagination. The only intact royal tomb ever found. 5,000 artifacts, 3 coffins of solid gold, the innermost weighing 110 kilograms, worth over $1 billion today. And his death mask, 24 pounds of pure gold, inlaid with lapis lazuli and obsidian. The face of a boy frozen in eternity. The world went mad. Tutankhamun became an overnight sensation. Museums fought for exhibitions. Egypt demanded the treasure's stay. But as Carter prepared to examine the mummy itself, something impossible began to happen. Inscribed on the tomb's shrine was a warning, later sensationalized as "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." Carter dismissed it as superstition. He had no choice. The world was watching. The excavation must continue. But within months, the deaths would begin, and the legend of the pharaoh's curse would be written in blood. Lord Carnarvon, who financed the discovery, was the first to die. 4 months after opening the tomb, a mosquito bite became infected. On April 5th,
The press erupted. The curse of the pharaohs, they screamed. But it was only beginning. George J. Gould visited the tomb in 1923. He died of fever within weeks. Prince Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey, present at the opening, was murdered by his wife 6 months later in a London hotel. Archaeologist Hugh Evelyn White hung himself in 1924, leaving a note, "I have succumbed to a curse which forces me to disappear." A.C. Mace, Carter's assistant, arsenic poisoning. Georges Benedict fell after visiting tomb, died of injuries. Archibald Reed X-rayed the mummy, died of exhaustion. Some blame radiation, others ancient bacteria sealed from millennia. But 9 people directly connected to the tomb's opening died within 7 years. Statistically impossible, experts claimed, yet the deaths continued. 22 people by 1929, 27 by 1935. Howard Carter himself lived until 1939, 17 years after the discovery. Perhaps the curse spared him, or perhaps he died slowly, haunted by what he'd unleashed. Modern science offers explanations: toxic mold spores, deadly bacteria, even radiation from uranium-based pigments in the tomb's paint. Yet no scientific test has ever conclusively proven a curse. The deaths remain unexplained. Coincidence or something darker? Today, Tutankhamun's treasures rest in Cairo's Egyptian Museum, visited by millions. The boy king, forgotten for 3,000 years, became the most famous pharaoh who ever lived. His mummy remains in the Valley of the Kings, returned to the tomb that tried to keep him secret, guarded now not by curses, but by bulletproof glass. Who was Tutankhamun? A crippled boy? A puppet king? A murder victim? Or a pharaoh powerful enough to reach across 3 millennia and exact revenge on those who disturbed his eternal sleep? The answer lies buried in the sands of time.